Hello and welcome to today's video. Welcome to Dr. BMS channel. Today we're going to look at the reason why some people use drugs and substances of abuse. This is a very common question, and people are always asking why are some people not able to get away from drugs when they start using, while others seem to use and go on with their lives. So we're going today to address the reasons why. So come along with me, and before we start, please subscribe and like this video. This is Dr. BMS. We're going just as a way of introduction to refresh our minds and find out what drugs of abuse are we talking about. And today we're talking about drugs which we call psychoactive substances. Psychoactive substances get their name because they interact with your central nervous system, and your central nervous system is the system in the body which controls the way you function. It controls other systems in the body. That is why it is called the central nervous system. It is made up of nerves which are called neurons, and it sends messages throughout the body. And this way, it affects your mental processes. This is the way you think, the way you interpret things, the way you make decisions. And from that effect, then we see it in the behavior, the way you act and the way you behave. So your perception of reality, your response time, and the world around you is affected by use of psychoactive substances. If you've seen someone stagger, or someone run away, it's because their brain has received some information that there is danger around them, or there is lack of coordination, and that is the behavior we see. So psychoactive substances actually affect your brain, and your brain is a very specialized area. From the points you can see in the brain, the different colors, those are the functions which take place in the brain. You can see the center for coordination, why someone can walk straight, they can stand on one foot. You can see the center for memory, why some people have very sharp memories, while others really cannot remember what has been going around. So when you use psychoactive substances, they come to these brain areas, and some of them even mix up the senses. Some of them erase the senses. They affect the nerves which send messages, and you find you really cannot remember what happened. You really cannot see properly. So if you are driving or you are operating a machine, then you are in danger because your vision is impaired. So this is why we are interested in psychoactive substance use. So now we come to see what really makes some people get addicted, use drugs to the level where they get addicted. And there are various things. One of the main things we need to know, there is an interplay of the environment where you live and the person, your personal characteristics, your genetics, the way your body is made up. So there are some people right from the first day they test whatever substance of abuse they test, then they are hooked because their genes and their genetic makeup is made like that they are not supposed to use whatever substances of abuse. So when we talk of macro level, the environment plays a very important role because it interacts with your genetics, and most of the time will decide whether you're going to be addicted to substances or not. So the macro level is the level, the bigger picture, the environment, your social environment where you stay, where you live. Maybe you live in an area where substance use is very common. People brew alcohol and they sell it openly, or you will see adults using smoking around you. So all these things, your level of income most of the time will determine what you're going to use. Those people with high income levels are going to use more refined substances, while people of lesser income are going to use locally available substances. Then the micro level is the family level, where you're brought up. We say modeling here plays a big role. If you are a family which keeps drugs in the house, you keep alcohol, for example, your children get normalized by seeing alcohol. They see people drinking in the house, and then this now will interplay with their personal characteristics, and this will shape their beliefs, their attitudes, and their behavior. The schools, there are some of our young ones who pick these habits in schools because it happens there. Drugs are easily available, and our young ones want to experiment with the same. Some people will pick it at the workplace because in this workplace culture. Some workplaces will serve alcohol, for example, will have staff parties, and then there's alcohol available, other drugs available, and the attitude among your peers about substance use makes a big difference on whether you begin using substances or not. And all these now come together with your personal characteristics, that is your genetic makeup, and then they'll determine whether you will get addicted to whatever substance or not. So substance use has a lot to do with your environment and your personality as a person. But we ask in the first place, why do really people start using these substances? And what we say here is, there are two major things. People want to feel good. Substance use has been marketed, has been thought about as the only way to make you feel good, to make you get those good feelings. And we've seen there's a part of the brain which has memory. So if you used a certain substance, you drank beer, for example, and you liked the feeling, that memory is entrenched somewhere in your brain. And every time you see beer or you see cannabis, you want to use it because you want to get the same sensation you got the first or the last time you used it. Then the other big reason is people want to feel better. There's some people who are actually sick from, this could also be from their genetic makeup. They are depressed, for example, they're suffering from depression. And then you realize you use some sort of substances, like the substances we call stimulants, and then you feel better. It enhances your mood. It makes your mood happy, more calm, and less anxious. So these people will continue to use these substances in an effort to treat their hopelessness, to treat their anxiety, and to deal with their fears and their worries. So for such people, if they get help, you get examined by a doctor, a psychiatrist, or a clinical psychologist, and they are able to see your level of problem, then you can get the right medication, and then you don't need to use substances to feel better. So the good news is there is help available. Seek help as soon as you can, and then the right diagnosis will be made and you will be helped. So the other big thing, like we've said, is the pursuit of pleasure. It is being marketed, especially nowadays in social media, that when you're having drugs, you're using substances, psychoactive substances, you're having a good time. And people take these pictures, they put them in social media forums, they'll be in Instagram, they'll be on WhatsApp groups. And because society, people like to model, you don't want to be the different one. The next time you think of having a good time, getting out with your friends, then the use of drugs is a common theme around that. We've seen this, our schools, children, pupils leave school when they close and they go out and have fun. And having fun is actually taking drugs and engaging in other behaviors which may not be appropriate for them. So these are most of the reasons which are there. We've talked about modeling. Modeling is what people see, especially the young ones. What your children see you doing is what they think is the right one. They say children see, children do. So it's not more of your words, it's more of your actions. If you're smoking, then you cannot tell your child, this is not right. So the things we do, we need to think, are we sending a message, sometimes unconsciously, to the young people in the society that this is actually the right way of doing things? So we need to be aware that our actions as parents and as other people of influence in society really also influence the young minds on the decisions they make. And when they get the opportunity, then we get these shocking pictures going around of young children behaving, getting involved in behaviors which are very worrying to the society, because these are the children who are growing up to be active members of our society. For the youngsters, the young adults, especially in universities, in colleges, out of college, those who are finished Form 4, and the teenagers, most of the reason why they will engage in substance use is mostly curiosity. Some of them do not have the information, so they wonder, how does it feel to use substances? And because they want to answer that question, then sometimes they want to fit into the peer pressure. Sometimes it's just rebellion, because the parents are saying it's not a good thing to do, then they feel they want to do it. We've talked about poor role modeling. We've talked about the issue of seeking pleasure, and sometimes they're also stressed, or they're sick, they're depressed, and they're looking for a way out. So peer pressure is quite real in substance use, and that's why we need to build the character of our young ones, our young adults, so that they know what they stand for. We need to build their character, we need to build their self-esteem, so that they can rise and make informed decisions not to use drugs. Because all forms of addiction starts with the first use. Even if you are genetically predisposed to addiction and you never introduce your body to these substances, then you're not going to get addicted. But if you have a genetic predisposition, the minute you get to use, then you are hooked from day one. So kindly get the right information so that you don't fall for this peer pressure. It is quite real. You can see this one is being told, come on dude, don't be a wimp. And at this age, they are very suggestible. You want to be seen to be the one who is on top of things. You want to be seen to be in charge. So you don't really want to be a wimp. You don't want to be someone who does not seem to understand what they are doing. So you want to fit in the crowd. It's important. So social and cultural influences are also very strong. And we need to be aware what we believe as a society and what we are modeling to our youngsters. Music and drugs and advertising. There's a lot of advertising to have a good time. It's through using drugs. So our media also needs to play the right role so that they are not advertising, especially to young minds. The young adults are very suggestible, and like we've said, they like to belong. So if you're advertising, the advertisements are focused and are meant to woo them to drug use, then they'll certainly get to drug use. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to like this video and to subscribe so that we bring you more videos. Feel free to get in touch with us at the Fountain of Hope Treatment Center, where we give more information and we give treatment for all drug-related problems. Thank you and welcome.